'Tis the season, everyone. 'Tis the season for going shopping, baking cookies, and definitely 'tis the season to be watching those Christmas classics. This is going to be my first, I suppose, annual Christmas special, and I decided to kick it off with The Bishop's Wife, which came out in 1947, and I would definitely describe it as a fantasy romance picture. It kind of fits in that same category as The Ghost and Miss Muir or Portrait of Jenny, sort of that type of thing. And it stars Cary Grant, Loretta Young. It also has David Niven, and I would also like to point out Elsa Lanchester is in the film for people who really appreciate her great character acting. She's Frankenstein's bride for those of you who don't know who Elsa Lanchester is. So, The Bishop's Wife, in some theaters it was titled Carrie and the Bishop's Wife, and it's interesting to note that because when it first came out, it was released by producer Samuel Goldwyn, and he thought that audiences would think that it was a religious film, and because it's called The Bishop's Wife, so he decided to add the Carrie and the Bishop's Wife, and this actually boosted sales. It boosted the film's business by as much as 25%. So doing little things like that really did help out back then. And so this is a Christmas movie that is set in New York. It's December, of course, in the movie, Christmas time, everyone's happy. It's snowing in Manhattan. People are shopping, ice skating. So the setting is perfect for anybody who wants to get in the mood of Christmas. It's directed by Henry Koster, and I've already reviewed two other films that he has done. I've done No Highway in the Sky, which was excellent, and The Virgin Queen, which was also a pretty good film. So Henry Koster certainly is a great director. Previous to Koster being on board, they actually filmed quite a bit of the movie, and it's very, very interesting because in the original film, Cary Grant plays the bishop and David Niven plays the angel. So they filmed this with a different director, and Samuel Goldwyn came in and he basically thought that the film was terrible. He ordered that he fired the director that did that version, brought in Henry Koster, and basically Henry Koster, from what he saw when he watched the original film that was made for release, he thought that Cary Grant should be switched with David Niven and Grant should play the angel. And I think ultimately that was a superb decision by Koster. And they even brought in Billy Wilder, the famous writer who of course did The Lost Weekend of countless other films. Billy Wilder came in and helped write some of the script and redo some of the scenes, and what we got was The Bishop's Wife, which is pretty much a classic for a Christmas time and has an excellent script. So let's talk about the plot. So Cary Grant he's an angel. You don't know that right away. He's just kind of walking around Manhattan, seeing it's Christmas time, but he's kind of saving people and making people happy. David Niven is a Episcopalian minister. They don't say he's Episcopalian, but it's pretty obvious. And he has this dream to have a cathedral in New York, this great cathedral, but he's struggling to get the funds, and he says a prayer to God, of course. Please, God, help me in this. And Cary Grant pops up. And Cary Grant basically tells him, all right, good sir, I will help you achieve your goal because I'm an angel. I want to get my wings. And I want to note that this movie came out only a year after It's a Wonderful Life. So there are those similarities with the angel helping someone, lots of similarities really. So I would say, watch It's a Wonderful Life and then watch The Bishop's Wife, because they both relate quite a bit. So he says, okay, I'll help you, Niven. I'll help you get your church. And Loretta Young, she plays the bishop's wife, and she is really down in the dumps because her husband just doesn't hang around her much anymore. She's not happy anymore with her marriage. And Cary Grant steps in. He makes her really happy. He goes out shopping with her. He goes eating with her. There's an ice skating scene. A really great Christmas movie to watch because of all these cheery scenes. And that's also why, it can be called Carey and the Bishop's Wife. But David Niven is a little bit jealous. He kind of thinks, okay, what's this angel doing? And he's also wondering, is he really an angel? The majority of the film. So I'm not going to give everything away, but that's pretty much the plot, is that Cary Grant decides to help the bishop get his cathedral, and in the process he is hanging out a lot with his wife, making her happy again, making his household a happy place again. So that's pretty much the plot. When they first made the film, like before Cary Grant played the angel, they had already blew $1 million on this. So this just goes to show how producer Samuel Goldwyn really wanted to make this a great classic movie. And I think he did achieve that. I have a lot actually to talk about in my Cary Grant book. There's a picture of Loretta Young, but there's a lot of really interesting things about the production of the film in Cary Grant's biography. One thing is that David Niven was devastated by his wife's death just the previous May when they started making the movie. And his wife died in a tragic way, I believe, falling down a staircase in Tyrone Power's house or something strange like that. So during the production, David Niven was actually in a really gloomy, depressed mood. So that's a little bit hard to work with right off the bat. But also Cary Grant was very difficult to work with as well. So this is what director Koster had to say. I met with Cary Grant, whom I admired all my life and who was the best comedy leading man in the world. He was very upset. He thought that the part of the bishop, which he had been playing, was much better than the part of the angel, because the angel was simply a straightforward, very self-assured man, while the bishop would be comically befuddled, one of Cary's specialties. He was annoyed because Goldwyn was forcing him to play this other part. Cary wanted to resign. He told Goldwyn he wanted the part for which he was signed. Goldwyn told him that only Goldwyn could decide what Cary would play. This created great friction. And just wait, there's a lot more. Let's see. Also, Cary Grant, he did like Koster, but he still felt at odds with the material of the movie. He was so irritated by a scene involving an ancient Roman coin that he simply picked up the coin and began to walk off the set. Koster asked him where he was going. He replied that he couldn't play the scene. He was sweating, his face moist. He was very tense. Koster tried repeatedly to have him do the scene. Cary insisted that the angel would not do what the script made him do. It took a whole day to reach a compromise. So Cary Grant being a little bit of a drama queen on set. There were other problems. There was a scene in which Carey and Loretta Young, who played the bishop's wife, were supposed to be gazing at each other with a sense of communion without physical passion that was essential to the mood of the film. Neither actor had been objected to being shot in profile, but now Carey said he looked better from the left side, and Loretta said that she also looked better from that side. In despair, Koster said, "How can I direct what is, in essence, a love scene if both of you are looking the same way?" The two stars shrugged and looked at Koster. Finally, Koster reworked the sequence so that Miss Young walked to the window and looked out, and Carey stepped up behind her and put his hands on her shoulders and looked out past her head. This wasn't actually in the film, and I'll get to the reason. Sam Goldwyn used to come in early. This is what Koster said in quotes. Sam Goldwyn used to come in early to see the rushes. He called me to his office. He said, "What is this? Carey and Loretta looking out the window. That isn't the way the scene was scripted. They're supposed to be gazing into each other's eyes." I told him what had happened. He came down to the set. He was very annoyed with Carey and Loretta, but he let the scene go in as I had shot it. And he told me that them as he walked back to his office, "From now on, both of you guys get only half your salary if I can only use half your faces." So there was a lot of friction between Goldwyn and Cary Grant on set, obviously. And there was another strange thing. During the ice skating scenes, they had to use a double to play Grant and Loretta Young because they do some really intricate moves on the ice rink. And Cary Grant was annoyed by this because he thought he could learn in like 2 weeks how to do all these professional moves that a really skilled ice skater could do. So I don't know, Grant was acting a little weird. Koster added, "When Carey did any scene, I knew he was miserable, that he didn't want to play the character at all. This is the worst thing that can happen to a director, to work with an actor who doesn't want to play a part and is contractually forced to do it. David Niven was no more pleased than Carey." So everybody was miserable making this Christmas spectacular movie. And finally, let's see, there's one more. Yes. Loretta Young was already telling people that she wasn't happy working with Cary Grant because of his fussiness over the sets in The Bishop's Wife. In an interview, she complained that he had held up a day's work, grumbling over the absence of frost on a window, an incident reminiscent of Night and Day. So this guy was a little bit of a big baby on set. When he was told that he can't play the bishop anymore, that's what sparked it, and he didn't want to make the movie. But I'm glad they made the movie because it's a great Christmas classic. I really hope you watch it. Definitely worth seeing at this time of year. And also a little fun fact just to end, two of the child actors from It's a Wonderful Life also made it into this movie. The boy who played young George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life, and the little girl who played Zuzu in It's a Wonderful Life, the girl who says the little "every time a bell rings an angel gets his wings" at the end of the movie, she's also in this movie. So just a little fun fact, but watch the film, guys, and I'll be coming out with a lot more Christmas movies for you. See ya.